Hey there! You're watching another episode of Procurement Shorts, where we break down everything happening in the world of procurement and supply chain. Here are the headlines today. As lithium prices continue their upwards trajectory, recent transactions reveal that there might be no ease up in the offing. And that's because there's just too much of the metal under Chinese control. Since 2018, Chinese investments in the Lithium Triangle, that's a cluster of lithium mines across Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile, have hit a whopping $16 billion. Chinese mining and energy companies like Ganfeng Lithium, Zijin Mining Group, and Zhanji Mining have made acquisitions and signed contracts to procure massive chunks of Argentinian, Bolivian, and Chilean lithium. And that's 56% of the world supply. According to estimates, the acquisitions have China controlling 75% of global lithium processing. This has led to pronounced supply problems. Only a week ago, a power cut in the Sichuan province saw 20% of global supplies face the heat. But this isn't a one-off. In 2021, lithium carbonate prices rallied 485% to end at $41,925 per ton in December. The impact has sent battery prices skyrocketing. Only a couple of years ago, merely 40% of battery prices were accounted for by raw material. That share is 80% today, primarily thanks to sky-high lithium and cobalt prices. China's dominance in the supply chain could slow down the lithium offtake by the EV sector and the pace of EV manufacturing. After all, 6 out of the top 10 battery makers are Chinese, with CATL accounting for 3/10 of global production. This monopoly has forced some American buyers like Tesla to consider refining lithium themselves. The company's CEO, Elon Musk, said, and I quote, "I'd like to urge entrepreneurs to enter the lithium refining business. The mining is relatively easy. The refining is much harder," end quote. Delays in the supply of rigid plastic containers, metal cans, and flexible paper could have buyers of these packaging materials in a fix. The uncertainty comes as packaging manufacturers are mulling over responses to possibly tighter EU and US regulations over chemicals widely used in packaging. According to a McKinsey study, the FDA and the European Food Safety Authority, or EFSA, are likely to issue tight regulations over the use of BPA and PFAS in food and beverage packaging. BPA refers to bisphenol A used in the lining of food packages, and now the subject of a study on whether it causes hormonal problems and high blood pressure. PFAs refer to a group of chemicals used to protect packages from heat, oil, and water, but could also be carcinogenic. Given that some suppliers are adopting the reactive approach of waiting for tighter regulations before changing processes, a breakdown in supply chain may not happen soon. However, the majority is choosing the proactive approach of looking at alternatives for 20% of their inventory and not losing out on orders even if regulations kick in. That approach could see delays in delivery. The good news is, given the potential disruption in the packaging supply chain, McKinsey reports a slight delay in regulations might be in the offing. The consensus, though, is that suppliers will have to shift to alternatives while managing short-term delays of a week or two. Soybean supplies from the US are under pressure again. Extreme heat and prevailing drought in large parts of the Midwest are hampering crop harvests across the United States. The soybean pod count in Illinois is significantly lower than last year, but above the 3-year average, even as Nebraska has reported a pod count for 2022 that is lower than the 3-year average. Corn yield has followed suit, with Iowa, Indiana, and Illinois turning in less than expected numbers. The shortfall in soybean comes even as the USDA's 2022 forecast predicted a record high of 4,531 million bushels, or 2.2% higher than last year. Yield was expected to hit a record high of 52 bushels per acre, up 1% year on year. Brian Harris of Global Risk Management said, and I quote, "We think the bump in yield was premature. We still have a few weeks to go before we can determine what this number is going to look like." End quote. Supply pressures have seen soybean prices rise to about $14.5 to a bushel, while corn prices were $6.6 to a bushel. However, soybean prices may not continue rallying as Brazil begins working on its largest soybean sowing area to date. But demand will continue as drought conditions in China signals a bumper import order. Well, that's all the time we have on this edition. Do check out barolive.ai to keep pace with all that's hot and happening in the space. And it's goodbye for now.